Every year, thousands of people make the same expensive mistake. They move to a UK town without understanding what the data shows, and 12 months later they are trying to sell a property that has not appreciated, commuting to work that barely exists, or raising a family in a place that the government's own deprivation indices have ranked at the bottom of England for decades. This video is not about the people who already live in these towns. It is about what the data says to anyone thinking about moving to them. These are the 13 UK towns that nobody is moving to in 2026, and the specific reasons behind every one of them. Number 1. Blackpool. Blackpool appears at or near the top of more negative UK rankings than any other single town. The English indices of multiple deprivation place Blackpool as the most deprived local authority in England. The Office for National Statistics data consistently shows Blackpool with the worst healthy life expectancy for both men and women of any local authority area in the country. The structural problem is a tourism economy that peaked decades ago and has not found a replacement. The pleasure beach still draws visitors, the town centre does not. Vacancy rates on Blackpool's commercial streets are among the highest in the UK. The seasonal nature of the economy means that stable, year-round employment is scarcer than the tourism numbers suggest. Antisocial behaviour statistics place Blackpool consistently in the national top tier. The NHS Blackpool Teaching Hospitals Trust has been under significant pressure, with waiting times above national averages across multiple specialities. Property in Blackpool is genuinely cheap, and that is precisely the trap. A low purchase price in a structurally declining area does not represent value. It represents the market's accurate assessment of what the asset is worth and where it is likely to go. Neighbouring areas like Lytham St Anne's tell a different story with different data. The contrast within a short distance is instructive. The population of Blackpool itself is declining. The deprivation figures are not improving. The case for buying in Blackpool as an investment requires a regeneration thesis that the current data does not obviously support. Number 2. Grimsby. Grimsby's identity was built on fishing. The fishing industry collapsed over decades following the cod wars of the 1970s, and the town has been navigating the consequences ever since. Population decline has been persistent. North East Lincolnshire Council, which covers Grimsby, consistently appears in the lower quartile of local authority performance assessments. Youth unemployment runs above regional and national averages. Number 3. Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough is one of the most consistently low-ranked towns in UK quality of life research. The Centre for Towns Research has identified Middlesbrough as among the most challenged urban centres in England on multiple composite measures, including employment, health, education and income. The post-industrial transition from steel and chemicals has produced persistently high unemployment relative to surrounding areas. Crime rates are above national averages across multiple categories. The Teesside Freeport investment is real. The gap between that announcement and the residential property market data, which shows more people leaving than arriving, is also real. Buyers should not conflate the two. If this is already making you rethink your shortlist, good. We are only at number 3. Subscribe and hit the bell. 10 more to go. This information is free. The mistake it prevents is not. Number 4. Stoke-on-Trent. Stoke-on-Trent's pottery industry made it one of the most economically important towns in England for 2 centuries. The industry has largely gone. The physical legacy includes Victorian bottle kilns, industrial infrastructure, and densely packed terraced housing built for workers who no longer work there. That legacy remains. Stoke consistently appears in the bottom quartile of English local authorities on income deprivation, employment deprivation, and skills deprivation simultaneously. The property market offers some of the lowest house prices in England, which attracts buyers looking for yield on rental investment. The challenge is what drives those yields. High demand from low-income renters in an area with structural unemployment, rather than demand from economically mobile professionals choosing to live there. There is a difference between cheap property with rental yield and cheap property with appreciation prospects. Stoke-on-Trent's data is clearer on which category it falls into. Number 5. Bradford. Bradford held the UK City of Culture in 2025. The deprivation data did not change with the designation. Bradford consistently ranks among the most deprived local authorities in England, with 15% of the population in the most deprived decile nationally. Youth unemployment is above the national average. School performance is below the national average across the district. The cultural infrastructure investment is real. The gap between that investment and improved economic outcomes is wide, and it will take years to close. Number 6. Hartlepool. Hartlepool became a symbol of left-behind Britain in ways that went beyond the political discussion. The economic data behind that symbolism is consistent. Employment in Hartlepool has been structurally below regional and national averages since the closure of the steelworks. The town has some of the highest rates of economic inactivity in the northeast. Population has been declining for an extended period as working-age residents move toward Durham, Darlington or Teesside for employment. Low prices in a declining population area carry a specific risk, different from low prices in a recovering one. When fewer people want to live somewhere each year, prices reflect that direction over time. Number 7. Great Yarmouth. Great Yarmouth is the most deprived local authority in the east of England. The coastal economy that sustained it through most of the 20th century, from tourism and fishing to North Sea energy, has contracted or transformed in ways that have not produced equivalent local employment. Flooding risk is a significant practical concern. Large portions of Great Yarmouth's residential areas sit within flood zone categories that require insurance riders and that carry increasing risk as coastal conditions evolve. The Environment Agency flood risk maps are not reassuring reading for buyers, considering certain postcodes. Commercial vacancy rates are among the highest in the east of England. School performance is below national averages. Great Yarmouth has a beautiful seafront and genuinely affordable property. The structural picture behind those prices is why they remain that affordable. Number 8. Clacton-on-Sea and the Tendring District. Jaywick Sands, a settlement within the Tendring District near Clacton, holds the documented title of the most deprived neighbourhood in England in the English indices of multiple deprivation. Not the most deprived coastal settlement, the most deprived neighbourhood in the entire country. The data is not ambiguous. Beyond Jaywick, the wider Tendring District and Clacton-on-Sea carry structural challenges familiar to declining coastal towns, seasonal employment, an ageing population, limited transport connectivity to employment centres, and a housing market priced for the local demographic rather than for inward migration. The C2C and Greater Anglia rail connections to London are present, but slow and expensive for daily commuting. The infrastructure investment case is not strong. Number 9. Burnley. Burnley's textile industry is gone, and the economic transition has been partial at best. Consistent bottom quartile performance on income deprivation and employment deprivations in the English indices. The population has been broadly flat to declining. The Lancashire Regeneration Grant programmes have delivered some investment, but auction results from Burnley property sales tell a complementary story. In a recent analysis, a meaningful proportion of lots went unsold in a room full of buyers. That is not a soft market. That is a market where buyers are exercising significant caution at any price, which tells you something about where sentiment currently sits. House prices in Burnley are among the cheapest in England. The yield potential for rental properties is real. The long-term appreciation case requires a regeneration thesis that the current employment and population data does not yet support. Number 10. Oldham. Post-textile deprivation is consistent with the wider Milltown pattern. Unemployment is above the national average. School performance is below the national average. Proximity to Manchester via the Metro link offers only a partial commuter advantage. Property is cheap relative to Manchester. The question is whether that gap closes, or whether Oldham continues to be priced as a place people leave rather than arrive in. Migration data currently supports the latter. Number 11. Rochdale. Rochdale is in the most deprived quartile of English local authorities across multiple measures. Employment is below Greater Manchester averages. Investment from the Greater Manchester Combined Authority is concentrated on central Manchester rather than on Rochdale. Property is cheap, but the structural picture is consistent with Oldham. It is the same proximity argument, with the same caveats about connectivity and the direction of population flows within the city region. Number 12. Wigan. Wigan's town centre has experienced the kind of retail and commercial vacancy acceleration seen across post-industrial northern towns, but with particular intensity. The Galleries shopping centre was demolished, a physical symbol of the structural shift in how people in Wigan interact with their town centre. That shift is difficult to reverse through incremental investment. Wigan Council has been working through financial pressures consistent with many northern local authorities navigating reduced central funding. Employment in Wigan is more diverse than some entries on this list. Logistics and distribution along the M6 corridor provide genuine, year-round jobs. But employment in distribution warehouses does not automatically translate into housing demand from higher income professionals choosing to relocate, and the property market reflects that. There is also the practical matter of the town centre itself. When the primary retail anchor is demolished rather than replaced, it signals something about the trajectory of footfall and commercial confidence that takes more than incremental public investment to reverse. Cheap to buy. Cheap because of what drives the demand and what has left. Number 13. Rotherham. Rotherham's steel industry collapse left a post-industrial legacy that the town has been working through for decades. The English indices of multiple deprivation place significant portions of Rotherham's residential areas in the most deprived deciles nationally. The town has also carried a reputational burden from events in the early 21st century and the following decade. Events that attracted sustained national attention and continue to affect how Rotherham is perceived by potential movers. The advanced manufacturing park on the edge of Rotherham, adjacent to the Sheffield City region, represents a genuine employment hub that has attracted real investment. But the employment impact of high-tech manufacturing parks does not automatically translate into quality of life improvements across the residential areas of the wider borough. Property is cheap. The advanced manufacturing story is real. The gap between that story and the lived experience of most Rotherham postcodes is still wide. Here is what connects all 13. Every entry on this list has low property prices. That is not a coincidence. It is the market's assessment of structural challenges that have not yet been resolved by investment announcements, regeneration programs, or cultural designations. Cheap property is not value if the structural drivers of that cheapness are still in place. The towns that will genuinely appreciate over the next decade share one characteristic that most of these 13 currently lack: net inward population migration from economically mobile households. When more people are arriving than leaving, property markets respond. The migration data for most of this list runs in the other direction. 3 types of UK location that current data supports for residential buyers. Cathedral cities and university towns within commuting distance of major employment centres, for example Durham, Chester and Lincoln, where quality institutions anchor the local economy. Coastal towns with genuine regeneration underway and documented net inward migration, for example Margate, Hastings and specific postcodes in Folkestone that have meaningful data behind the movement. Market towns in the commuter shadow of major cities, accessible but not yet priced as commuter destinations, where the employment base of the nearby city reaches, but the anchor city's property prices have not yet followed. The 13 towns on this list may improve. Some have genuine long-cycle investment stories attached, but the timescale between an investment announcement and residential quality of life improvement is measured in decades, not years. Buying property on the basis of a regeneration thesis is a legitimate investment strategy, but it requires that you understand what you are buying, why it is priced the way it is, and how long the thesis will take to play out. These 13 are cheap for specific documented reasons. You now know what those reasons are.